Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully, having a good week. It's another one closer to the holiday season, which is nuts. But hopefully, you're having a good one. Hopefully, everything's going well. And before we get into this episode, just want to let you know this episode brought to you by Titleist and the Pro V1 and Pro V1X. So you don't get to be number one because you talk a good game. You have to earn it. Titleist earns that number one ball in golf title every week on tour, with more players trusting the Pro V1 and Pro V1X than any other golf ball, and it's not even close. In fact, it's often more than 70% of the field, and that number is even more impressive at the amateur level, where Pro V1 and Pro V1X are the number one choice at the NCAA's U.S. Amateur, U.S. Women's Amateur, and the U.S. Junior, just to name a few. Make Titleist your number one. Tee up a Pro V1 or Pro V1X on your next round, and always bring your best. So go to Titleist.com, check out the Pro V1, Pro V1X. I've been playing, I pretty much played most of the Pro V1, Pro V1X all year. I swapped in a few things here and there, but kept going back and was rocking a lot of Pro V1, Pro V1X most of the year. It's just such a good ball. So greenside control, all that is just phenomenal. But like I said, Titleist.com, check them out. And another week, middle of November is absolutely crazy. So, and this week you get me twice in a week. I know we did a holiday show earlier in the week with Rodney Chambly from PGA Tour Superstore, going over some of the stuff for holiday. And now you get me for talking some gear, talking some clubs, and out there hitting some stuff. So, haven't got out the past couple days because it's been literally sleet / snow / rain, whatever you want to call it. It's been absolute crap. It's been like 35 degrees and kind of like rainy, snowy, sleety, just all around junk. So I haven't jumped out the past few days, but before that, went out and was hitting a bunch of balls on the range, and I'm just trying to get as many swings in as I can. So, and today, before we get into the show, we'll do a little chatting today. Got through, cleaned up the shop a little bit, trying to do a few more little like social media type like little videos and stuff like that. So, did a little 3-wood build with a Callaway Rogue ST. STLS head, and did that. So actually I gotta finish the video. It's not quite done yet. I gotta put a grip on it. But got the swing weight, glued up, all that. So it's dry, sitting on my workbench. But went through and cleaned up the shop a little bit, and kind of excited. I think this winter, I've always wanted to kind of, I don't know if you want to call it give back or whatever, but always wanted to like kind of help out. There's a couple little high schools. I live in Grosse Pointe Woods, so the high school near me is Grosse Pointe North. There's also a Grosse Pointe South. And then there's a couple schools in St. Clair Shores that are kind of near, all near where I live. So it's there's a lot of, I'll go to the course, I'll go to the range. There's a lot of kids who play on those golf teams. And I want to just basically kind of, if I can, help out with some of the work, if they're going to regrip clubs, all that. I would love to do that work for free. The labor part of it, if they just either buy the grips or, I guess pay me, I'll order the grips or whatever if they don't know where to get them from. And then put them on, but, reshafts, all that. Like I would like to, I like doing the work anyway. It's kind of fun for me. So I've enjoyed doing it. It's part of the big reason why I love this game, is just tinkering with clubs. And if I can kind of help out a few kids who, are get them ready for next year and for the season, that would be pretty cool. I just feel so weird. Like there's one of the coaches, she's a woman who coaches, I think, one of the St. Clair Shores teams, and it's always weird because like I'll see her at the range and she's always there like working with some kids, like a small group. Most of the time it's girls, but she does, I think, coach the boys team as well. And I just feel weird going up and like, I did once. I was like, listen, I'm like, I know you don't know me from anybody, but I do club work, all that, and kind of offered some of my services or whatever, and she kind of like blew me off in a way just because I get it, a random dude at the range, whatever, and I always feel weird, going up and being like a dude, or I don't know, it's always just a weird thing to go up and just offer help or whatever. But so I think this year I'm going to go do now that living in the city and be kind of connected to a few of the Facebook groups of people. I think I'm going to put it out there that if you're a junior, high school junior kid, whatever, playing, yeah, man, I think I'm going to offer this winter to do some work and see if we can get some kids with some fresh grips or reshafts or loft lies, whatever they need. Maybe even stamp a few wedges for some kids or whatever, put in there some stuff. But I don't know. I think it would be fun, and I think offering that to some kids, I think it'd be cool if somebody's out there willing to stamp your initials into a wedge or, throw some, fresh grips on there for, all you do is pay for the grips. That's, I'm not going to charge for tape or solvent or any of that stuff, and just pay for the grips and that's it. And, hopefully save some people some money and get some kids with some updated gear and see how we can do that. So, we'll see. We'll see if it goes over. I'm going to put it out there, but I'm kind of excited for it. Like I said, I don't know why, in a way, I'm kind of like, I've always been kind of nervous to do it, but I definitely want to. And, I know it's not a huge step. I'm not like, curing cancer or anything like that. But, in the golf world, I think, even a little bit can go a good ways. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to see if I get taken, any offers on it. And then who knows? I'll probably get some people offering to give me their clubs as well for, any adult. I'm charging them. I'm charging them something. Maybe not a lot, but I'm charging them something. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll probably get a few offers here and there, I would think. But my whole goal is not to make a bunch of money or anything like that. It's just to have a little bit to do during the winter when there's not a whole lot to do, and instead of maybe just sitting around watching TV, I can come down here and do a little work and work on some clubs, and maybe I'll even see some cool clubs that I can share with everybody else, some stuff that's older or whatever, some classics, and see what happens. But we'll see. I'm kind of like I said, I don't know why I'm so kind of nervous about it, but I am. But anyway, that is my one interesting thing. But anyway, I cleaned up the shop and all that, so it looks kind of nice, and it kind of made me think, that I need to post that as well. But got the workbenches and everything cleaned up. Definitely have some stuff that we definitely kind of collecting a lot of clubs as well. I'm gonna have to see the boys at the office what they want to take from me or whatever, and then we've got new stuff hopefully coming up here pretty soon. So starting to schedule up some times. I think I'll be heading out to California next month sometime to see a couple OEMs and check out some new stuff, and it'll be pretty fun, and I'm pretty excited to see what's going on with the new gear and all that. I know we're definitely not first in line in a sense. I know there's been some other people who have been out to some places and tried some stuff and checked out some new gear already. But yeah, we'll be rocking and rolling with that stuff next month. So I'm super excited. I think Tursky and I will be out in Carlsbad for a week, just bouncing around from OEM to OEM, and it's fun. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely a lot of fun. So that'll be cool. And then today I'm super excited because talking about some clubs that I got in just recently. I've been super excited. There's been a ton of talk about them in the forums, and I was super excited to get my hands on them to go hit them. And today is the day I get to talk about a couple ping sticks, and the first one being the brand new i230s. So yeah, the new i230 replaces the i210, which became kind of, I feel like last year or 2 years ago, because ping kind of runs on a 2-year cycle or just about, that the i210 was kind of slow to go. Like, I feel like it ended up being like kind of a cult classic, and it ended up being a pretty darn popular club, but it took a little while to get going. I felt like there wasn't a ton of buzz and all that, and then all of a sudden it just kind of exploded, and everybody wanted to hit the 210s, and they became extremely popular. A ton of guys on tour played them. They were just a really good iron for especially some people who wanted to hit a little lower ball flight. They were a little flatter launching, but they still kind of retained a little more of that, player shape. They're not tiny like Blueprints, but they're also not huge and have a ton of offset like, say G425. So kind of that in-betweener, and I would kind of compare them to stuff like, I would say these are kind of in between T100, T100S and T200. I think they're a little bit in between. I'll say they're closer to kind of T100S, probably closer to, Again, same thing, kind of like in between a little bit of Apex and Apex Pro. I think from visual aspect, you'd give the nod to Apex Pro in terms of what they look like, but they definitely are a bigger club head. I think they can, kind of compare decently to the PXG 0311 Gen 5s, which I've been playing. Probably a little bit of P790, but they're kind of that player's distance iron. But they're not really distance, They're definitely forgiving. They have a little distance to them. But I guess I'm gonna put them in that player's distance category because after I hit them and got a few numbers and put them next to my ping or my PXG 0311 Gen 5 Ts, they were pretty close in numbers. It really was pretty interesting to kind of hit both side by side. But yeah, the i230 multi-piece construction. So it's basically got they've lowered the CG, increased the MOI. They've got a big chunk of elastomer in the bottom to kind of help with the sound and feel. And then with that and taking that weight out of there, they can move it around to increase the MOI and all that. They've kind of got a nice kind of, I don't want to call it a wide sole, but it's a little bit wider than the PXG, but it's got a nice kind of rounded leading edge that shouldn't dig. And then a little a toe weight for getting the swing weight correct. Milled face, just overall a good looking iron. It's really simple. I know people have been dogging a little bit of the badge. If you're watching this on YouTube, down near the heel, you can see there's a little bit of a gap in the badge. The badge does kind of, it feels like, I don't know, it almost feels like aluminum, but it's probably plastic. But then it's got, like I said, a real simple look to it. There's not a ton there. The badge has like a little recessed section up near the toe. Just says i230 on the back, and that's it. I mean, super simple, super clean, and, just a good-looking iron. I mean, out of the box, I think, it's got just a little bit of offset, nothing too crazy, but a little bit of offset to it. It's got a little bit of a chunkier top line than maybe some other players' distance irons. Like I said, if you compare it to like a T100S or, a 0311T, it's going to have a little thicker top line than that. It's going to be a little longer heel to toe. So it's ping. It's meant to be a little more forgiving. That's kind of in their DNA. But it is an iron that when you look down, to me, it looks good. I mean, I've been playing a lot of PXG stuff. We all know there's a lot of ping design influence in PXG clubs. So when I look down on it, it's not that different to me. It looks pretty similar. The toe's a little more squared off. It's got kind of a sharp top to it. So the look is pretty traditional. And like I said, it's a little heftier than a lot of players' irons that you're gonna see. But they've done like I said, a little update compared to the i210s. These ones here are just standard stock specs. I know you can get a power spec where they bend the lofts a little strong. You can get a retro spec where they bend them a little weak. These are just standard black dot, so standard loft lie, standard length, and I got these with Modus 105 stiffs installed. I wasn't super picky when they said, what do you need? I just said, give me a stiff flex shaft in that kind of 100 grams to 110 gram range, kind of mid-flight, whatever, and this is what they put in there, which is perfectly fine. The 105 and I have had an interesting relationship over the years, but with these, I hit them pretty darn well. I've had some irons where I have not hit the 105s well, but these I actually did pretty well. But these ones here run off the a 45 degree pitching wedge, and then basically a 7 iron at 33 degrees, and a 4 iron at 22.5. So pretty standard in terms of modern day lofts. Nothing too crazy. It is interesting that the power spec lofts they change a good amount right around like the 7 iron, 8 iron, but they really don't change. My pitching wedge is like half a degree stronger. So, they're not crazy strong. And the same thing with the retro. They're not wildly, they're a little more, retro. They're about almost 2 degrees in some of the irons. But these are just stock everything, and then just a lambkin crossline grip on there. So nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. I didn't need anything fancy. I'm knocking over clubs. It's one of the things I got to figure out on my desk here when I'm doing these these podcasts is a better way to stack the clubs on my desk. But anyway, I was super excited. Like I said, I know with the 210s having such a huge following, and the forums and WRX, so many guys are still asking about them, that a lot of people are interested in the 230s. So took these bad boys out and ran to the range, had my full swing launch monitor, and I probably hit, out of my 100 balls, in my bucket, I would think that almost all of them were with 230s. I only brought 2 drivers. I didn't bring, I literally almost brought it was almost like a 14 club bag, which was crazy. It was, I really didn't bring much because I really wanted to hit these irons a lot, and that's pretty much what I did. So the one thing that I didn't do because I'm an idiot is I also have the iCrossover, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but I left the 4-iron at home to play the iCrossover. And I should have brought them both so I could hit them both side by side and give some numbers on them. And I didn't do that because I'm an absolute moron. I think when I threw them in the bag, I literally threw them in the bag as I'm going to play golf. Let's put these clubs in there as, going to actually play. So, but the 230s, like I said, I like the look. In terms of, a club head size and all that, I like them a lot. Could you press just a hair offset out of them? Sure. If I'm going to gripe about something, could you make it just a hair less offset? Sure. But the way that ping kind of flows the hosel and into the leading edge with that little bit of offset, I don't mind it. It's not too bad at all. They say I've got a 6-iron in my hand, the 6-iron offset, they're basically saying 0.12 inches. So 0.12 inches is, I don't know what it is in millimeters, but it's not a ton. And then also they have a good amount of bounce. This is an 8-degree bounce head in a 6-iron, and when you kind of look at it it definitely looks like it's got a little bit of bounce there, which I have not been able to get these out onto the course yet. But I've been like I said, I probably hit 90 balls of these bad boys on the range. And when I give you numbers, I will say that number wise, don't get too crazy because I was hitting literally just into the wind all day, and it was like a 2 club wind, basically, probably minimum 2.5 clubs, and it was just blowing the whole way. So when you look at the yardages on these, they're going to be all 3 clubs are going to be kind of super short, which was kind of crazy. But it was at least a 20 yard to 25 yard wind out there, which was pretty nuts. But overall, like I said, like the shape. Like I said, if I have to give a gripe, which, I don't think there's ever a perfect club out there, I could use a hair less offset. But overall, I think they're a little longer heel to toe, especially them, say, my PXGs that I was hitting against them. But it's proportionate, they've got the thicker top line, they've got just a touch of offset, a little bit more kind of squared, blunted toe. And honestly, I think they actually look pretty proportionate and pretty good, even being a slightly longer, slightly bigger, slightly longer club head. I know on their site they basically say that the short irons are more compact compared to the short, or the long irons are more compact, and they basically say for constant club head delivery they kind of shorten those up, make them a little more compact. The 3 through 5 iron, since I only had the 5 iron, that was the only one that was really compact to me. I have the 4 iron, but I didn't have it, and and then the mid and short irons are basically similar blade lengths, for a standard look. But in my hand, of course, I have a 6-iron, which is the first one that's not compact. The sound and feel is pretty darn good. Are they, Mizuno forged soft? Are they, Japanese steel forged soft? No. They definitely have a little firmness to them. When you hit off the face, you can definitely feel that the face, the material there, which is a high strength steel, it is a little firmer. There is just a little bit of click, but that elastomer there mutes a lot of it. It's just got a little click. When you flush it, it just, it's definitely solid. It just has a hair of a click to it, but it's not anything bad. I think I was, maybe because I was expecting a much more audible sound and a much more harsh feel and more vibration and all that, I was actually pleasantly surprised of how well these actually sounded and felt. Like I said, the elastomer, all the stuff kind of behind the scenes you can't see that uses to deaden the vibration, did a great job. Hitting it against the PXG, the 0311T Gen 5s, Definitely, those have more of just a soft thud. There's almost zero click to them. These have a really solid feel, but just, like I said, a little bit of click. And again, I'm hitting range balls, which, the quality of range balls at the Gratiot Golf Center are subpar, to be nice. They're not amazing, but hitting the same balls, apples to apples, next to each other. These definitely have a little firmer feel, but it's not bad. It's not harsh. What comes to your hands actually is pretty average. I mean, it's just a little bit more vibration than the PXG, and I think those PXGs are probably one of the softer multi-piece, foam-filled irons on the market. These are not not bad at all. Like, they actually are pretty pleasant. And it was kind of nice to have that little audible click when you hit it. They tend to be a little more responsive on mishits when you do hit it a little low in the face, a little off the toe, anything like that. That you get a little bit more vibration, a little bit more audible click, so you do get a little better feedback on these than some other irons. In terms of the feedback portion, and in terms of knowing where you hit it on the face, where you struck it, how well you struck it, or how poorly you struck it. And that part of it is actually pretty nice. And, like I said, sound and feel was really good. When you get into the actual performance of it, so like I said, I was hitting dead into the wind. So between the PXG 0311T Gen 5s, which have kind of been my gamers most of the year, I kind of put these up next to it. Now, granted, different shafts as well. Like, this is a Modus 105. That's an Elevate 95. So, that one's got a little higher launch, higher launching shaft in theory and all that. But, like I said, gamer to brand new set of irons. I just wanted to see how they kind of stacked up. And the carry yardages were and all the numbers honestly were pretty darn close. But carry number, the ping came out ahead by 2 yards. And what's funny is I was hitting 7-iron versus 7-iron, and a 7-iron is like my 160 club. And it's pretty much my 160 club. Like, it's all, it's been that way for years. The ping edged out the PXG by 2 yards at 138 and 136. And I hit a couple in there that got to like the 145. And the longest iron I hit was with an i230. And I think it went 146. And that was the longest shot I hit with any 7-iron of the day. There was not a club in the bag that went anywhere close to what the yardages should be. I mean, they were well struck, all that. It was just the wind was just dead into you the whole time. And it just wasn't even gusty. It was just straight into you the whole time. So 138 to 136 with a 7-iron. And the ping, edged it out, went a little bit further. And I will say that miss-hit wise, they both carried really well. I mean, for me, I've been missing more off the toe than the heel lately. Shots off the toe went really well. If you kind of looked at the variation of longest to shortest, I definitely hit the longest with the 230s. And then the shortest, they were pretty much the same. I think the shortest ball I hit, I think with each one there was something kind of in those like mid to low 130s that I hit. So there was some stuff hit like kind of 131, 133. But all the shots that you hit, even if you missed it off the face a little bit, hit it off the toe, hit it off the heel, hit a little thin, all those shots carried really well. I mean, you really did. You got away with some. I did take out, I think, like the first 1 or 2 shots I hit with the 230s. I think out of like the first, like, say 5 shots, like 2 of them I just flat bladed, and they went a long way. I mean, I took those out because, I mean, it cut the wind, went whatever, so I took those out. And everything else was really consistent. Ball flight was really straight. These things were kind of, in a sense, anti-left in a way. Like, I didn't hit a whole lot of shots left, unless, I mean, if my swing brought it and I hit it left, it went left. But for the most part, these things were pretty neutral. They wanted to hit a pretty, straight, flat ball. And if anything, I actually had hit a few that kind of started out right and even faded a little bit. But I was really not worried about left at all with these. The PXGs, had a little bit more left of a starting line than these 230s. So definitely a little bit of anti-left in there for players looking for something neutral. I thought these were a little more neutral than the PXGs. Not a huge amount, but enough where you notice the starting lines could be a little bit different. But yeah, 138 to 136, i230s beat out the PXGs by 2 yards. The spin was not a huge difference either. We're talking about 300 RPM difference. The pings spun at 62.33. and the PXG was 59.52. So PXG is a little lower spinning. These spun a little more. But you know what? Even with the slightly higher spin, which again, 300 RPM, and this is a 7-iron, and we're talking range balls, so everything on here range ball wise tends to spin a little lower. But even with the little bit higher spin, I mean, nothing actually rose into everything you hit into the wind pretty much stayed there. I mean, everything was online. It was straight. Nothing ballooned. Everything stayed pretty flat. And when I get to apex, I mean, this one actually flew a little lower anyway. But yeah, really flat ball flight. Still cut through the wind well, and it like I said, nothing ballooned, nothing really did anything crazy into that wind, which that wind is a usually kind of a truth exposer, out there, and these things were really, really straight. Ball speed, ping edged out again, 112.6 to 111, so about a mile and a half, 1.5 miles an hour, a little bit faster with the pings. Which I was a little shocked at. I always thought the PXGs were kind of those like high-speed cannons, and they were a little slower. And the interesting thing is that the club speed was a little faster with the PXG, so 82.3 with the ping, 83 with the PXG, so swung it a little bit faster with the PXG, and it is a little bit lighter shaft. That's the Elevate 95, and this being the Modus 105, so there is a little bit of difference in terms of weight. Not really noticeable playing. I mean, the static weight of both, the swing weight, all that, they were pretty similar. I mean, I didn't really notice a big difference between the two. You can definitely tell the Modus has a little bit kind of stouter feel. That Elevate really does kick at impact, and it really does have a little more liveliness to it. And I know the Modus 105 is definitely not a boardy shaft, but definitely felt a little more stout with the 105 compared to the Elevate 95, which was interesting. I didn't think there'd be that much of a difference between the two. When you get a smash factor, they both equal each other. And again, these are averages, but 1.33 for both, which, like I said, hitting a 7-iron, 133, pretty darn quick. And pretty equal, like I said, between the one having a little more ball speed and a little slower club head speed. And then the apex, or I'll get to launch. Launch, again, ping, 18 degrees, PXG, 19.8. So almost 2 degrees difference. And then with that lower launch, the apex on the ping was 76.7 feet, PXG, 82.8. So about almost 6 feet difference there in terms of apex, and the launch again about almost 2 degrees lower with the ping. So the ping did fire. I mean, it was easy to get in the air, but they did have kind of that lower piercing ball flight compared to the PXG, which definitely got up in the air much faster, and they both seemed to come down pretty quick. I mean, again, hitting into the wind of this type of wind, descent angles always look steep because the ball is literally just getting stopped in the air and falling out of the sky. But overall, I mean, not a monster difference between these and my gamers, and it's something where the pings I felt like were a little more forgiving. I felt like shots that I missed on the missed center, hit it again. Most of them hitting off onto the toe. Those balls went a little bit straighter. They stayed on line a little better. They still, were able to get up in the air. Again, just a little lower window than the PXG, but I felt like these things were a little more stable and had a little more forgiveness built into them than the PXGs do. Now, the PXGs are a little smaller club head. When you set them down, they definitely have a little more compact look, a little thinner top line, less offset compared to these. But the i230s definitely have let you get away with some shots that even the PXGs, which I was impressed with for as long as I've played them all year, of getting away with shots for such a compact head. These let you get away with some misses, and they carry pretty well. Overall, if you're somebody looking for a little lower ball flight, a little flatter ball flight, you're definitely going to be able to, you're probably going to be looking at the i230 as an option to try. But again, I when I hit them, I know everybody talked about kind of the 210 being a little lower ball flight, a little flatter ball flight, and I don't know if I was kind of expecting these to just be like, little cannons hitting little low bullets out there, but just normal swings, everything. I mean, I hit these before I hit the PXGs, and I kind of switched back and forth through probably the I don't know, 15, 20 balls I kind of hit with either one. I'd move on to other clubs. And realistically, the windows were different, but it wasn't so drastic that you were just like, whoa, like you weren't blown away. And the first few shots I hit before hitting the PXGs, I thought actually these were going pretty high. Like they were getting up in the air real easily. They were easy to launch. Even the 5-iron was pretty easy to launch. If you look at the numbers on the 5-iron, which I just put my phone away because people were texting me, like the 5-iron yardages were like something stupid crazy. It was like 160, or not even that. I think it was like 155 or 150 was the yardage there. So the 138s here, and then the 6-iron was probably in the 140s, and then 150 to 5-iron. Just everything was 20 yards short, out there. But even the 5-iron, really easy to hit, really easy to elevate. And then the pitching wedge was pretty controlled. Those, it was almost kind of nice having that slightly lower ball flight, especially with the wind blowing. You could kind of still take a full swing. You didn't have to work at like hitting a more penetrating ball, and it just went that way. But the whole set, like I said, I had 5-iron through pitching wedge there. Whole set really easy to hit. Like I said, really good look to them, and they just got away with some stuff. It's kind of like that cheater club where a guy like me who's like a 9.4 handicap, and I'll shoot everything between a 77 and a 97 during the year, depending on what I'm doing. They just let you get away with a lot of shots, but when you look at them, they don't make you feel like you're playing a big old game improvement club, which is really nice. And like I said, the sound and feel is pretty darn solid. Are there better out there? Of course. But, for what they are, they do offer a good combination of solid feel, a little bit of audible click, and the performance is really, really solid. So definitely a little flatter launch. If I can get out here, if the weather gets a little nicer, by the end, it's just freezing like through the weekend. If next week it's just a little bit warmer, I will definitely be on the course playing these and reporting back to how they play on the course. The way I was hitting them and how high they were, I don't think there's any issue with angle of descent in terms of hitting balls that are not going to hit the green, or that are not going to they're going to hit the green and just release like crazy. I don't think that's the case. I'm just going to take like one of these kind of average shots here, and in terms of descent angle. We don't have a descent angle, unfortunately. I was kind of wishing there was a descent angle here for on the the full swing. But it's a little bummer they don't have it. I was hoping they did, but to see. But even these shots here, when you hit them, they were definitely high. They were going to land soft, and like I said, they were stuff that just a little bit flatter, a little bit lower than the PXGs that I've had. So i230 super impressed with so far. Really like how they play. I like that you can get away with missing the center of the face and probably still hit the green with no problem. Balls stay on line really, really well. And just overall, just a really solid club that I think it plays bigger than it is, in terms of the forgiveness of it, the speed of it, what you get away with. It kind of plays bigger than what it looks like, even though it's a little larger than, like I said, a 311T or something like that. So overall, super impressed. Ping didn't miss again with these. I'm pretty sure a lot of players are going to be a big fan of these things. And everything numbers-wise looked really good, other than, that carry number, but that's not the iron's fault. That's the wonderful world of Michigan in the fall. So, but overall, really, really impressed and really pretty excited that I got to hit these things. And I'm pretty excited to hit them some more and kind of play them more, because it's they're just a solid iron. So, so then we get into what goes with it in terms of ping would be the brand new iCrossover. So the utility iron from Ping, and the big thing this year they brought to all the crossovers is the adjustable hosel. So if you're someone who likes to tinker and all that, the adjustable hosel is there, and you can adjust just like a wood in the Ping lineup. You can adjust these irons the same way. So you can go up and down in loft. They've got a flat setting, an upright setting. All that stuff is available to you, and you can go through and adjust that. So I went out there just leaving it stock as it is in just kind of the stock setting. So 22.5 degrees in the 4-iron, which is the one I had out there. I also have the 2, but I cannot hit the 2, so I didn't bring it. But I brought the 4 because the 4 utility kind of does make it into the bag for me. I have been using more of a utility iron as a 4-iron utility iron pretty much all year. Been swapping between Tour Edge, the Thai utility, the Mizuno Fly High, the Mizuno Pro Fly High, and kind of swapping between those two, and then took this bad boy out to the range. But the iCrossover, like the black finish on it, I think it looks really solid. It's a pretty decent looking iron from address. I will again give it one knock. I think it's got a little too much offset to it when you look at it. I think the overall rest of the shaping is pretty nice. The top line's a little thick, but not too bad. On the plus, you do not see any of, even with the 4, which is the highest loft they make in this thing, you do not see the what do you call it? The back of it, the back muscle, which almost every utility I've used this year, you pretty much see a little bit of that back muscle. This one you do not. No matter what kind of angle you look at it, you don't see the back muscle, which is pretty cool. But yeah, a little more rounded, a little more bubbly. The hosel is definitely thick. I know some people have said they don't like that look. I didn't really notice it so much. I think because of the thicker top line and the overall kind of bulkier shape of utility, I didn't quite notice it. And also, to me, I noticed much more of the offset on this than on the irons. Now the offset on this one is a 4. They say it's 0.18, which is, I think, a little bit of a generous number there. The 4-iron in the i230 says 0.17, and when you set them both down, this definitely looks like it has way more offset on it. So I think they're being a little generous with the number there. However, they're measuring to that number. I feel like it is a little weak. I feel like there's definitely more offset than the number they post there. But yeah, like I said, in the 4-iron, 22.5 degrees, 39 inches, 61.5 is the stock lie angle. And it basically is equivalent to a 4-iron. And so I put this thing in the bag too. This one came here with the Ping Tour 2.0 shaft in it, with an 85 gram stiff, with the Ping 2.0s. And I think the Tour shafts from Ping, as we've all known, have all been super, super solid. Whether the drivers, fairways, whatever, they don't. They're kind of made for shafts. They're self-branded Ping shafts. Tend to be really, really high quality, and they perform really well. In terms of a self-branded shaft, they're the best out there in terms of that. I do not know who makes this one. I haven't ripped off the grip or anything, so I don't know who actually makes this. I know that previously a lot of the Tour shafts were UST, or some of them in Aldala over the years, so they're all just a little bit different. But this one here, just the Tour 2.0, has the cool kind of almost a matte finish on top, matte gray, and then it goes into that chrome, ion plated chrome, kind of down in the midway through, to give it kind of that steel look. But 85 grams, it definitely, they say it's a D2 swing weight. It feels a touch light. I want to put it in my swing weight scale, which I had out earlier, and I just didn't do it. But it does feel a little light compared to the irons, which are supposed to have the same swing weight to them. But it does feel a little lighter throughout the swing, and I actually don't mind that. Like, going the 85 gram shaft here with the 105s and the rest of the irons. I like going a little lighter in the 4-iron. Almost all my 4-irons, utilities and stuff like that I've built, have had different shafts in the set of irons. Just something that maybe is a little higher launching, a little lighter weight, combination of the two, whatever. But yeah, like I said, I didn't mess around the hosel settings yet. I know that you can. I haven't messed with them yet. I just took it out stock as it was, and I did do to say that the one thing I have not hit. I hit utilities decent, but they're not not blow you away great. This thing, from the first swing, I just absolutely hit it stupid well. The first shot, just launched high in the air, went. Didn't go as far as I thought. Again, hitting into the wind. So in terms of numbers here, again, remember these are into like a 20+ mile an hour constant wind all day. But overall, the sound and feel, Not amazing. I do have to say that the sound, it definitely is. It's firm, but it's got a ting to it. When you hit this thing, it definitely has a little tink. When it goes, it's audible, it's noticeable. I didn't love that about it, but when you hit it as well as I did on the range, I kind of was looking by it going, I don't really care. The performance of it is stupid good. I hit it higher and more consistent than I did with the Mizuno or the Tour Edge all year. Now I know this is one range session with a bunch of balls, but overall I was just hitting more consistent, higher flighting, softer landing shots off the turf. I wasn't even hitting off the tee, which is a lot of what I do with these clubs. But carry yardage is, again, you're talking 138 with a 7-iron. You get into here and you're looking at 164. So 164 here, which again, if you take off, I mean, again, we were losing 20 yards easily plus. I mean, I think this is going to be a 185 to 190 club when you actually hit it without the wind. Spin, 4,571 RPM. Like I said, this is a 4-iron, 22.5 degrees. Ball speed, kind of a little bit of a jump, 123.8, almost 124, and a club head speed of 88.1. And then a smash factor of 141. So definitely compared to the irons, you can definitely see where there's a good amount of ball speed here. And that's why I think, judging by, the actual carry number that was happening, and that probably was, I think the full swing does really well at doing carry distances. And out at that, my Gratiot Golf Center range, there is a kind of a net, or a small, like, waist-high kind of fencing net that runs around 200, and I don't think I was able to get a ball over 200. I don't think I cleared that thing even once, and I hit some really good balls that, just jumped off the face, went, and they didn't get there. And I think the only thing, I think I had hit 3-wood to get it over that fence. I think even hybrid was coming up short. 3-wood, I was able to get it over, and driver, and that was it. But 123.8 ball speed with an 88 mile an hour club head speed, so 141 smash factor are kind of my averages. Launch angle was 13.2 with an apex of 69.8, just under 70 feet. So just a few feet under the i230s, which were 76? Yeah, 76.7. Just a few feet under that, which for a 4-iron for me is really good, because most 4-irons, I'm way flatter than compared to a 7. I mean, the apex is nowhere near that high. And that's the thing I kind of noticed right out of the gate, is the first few shots I hit were just how effortlessly the ball got up in the air with this as compared to, say, even the 5-iron i230. And compared to my other utilities that I've hit when I've been hitting them well, they go a long way and all that, but they don't get up as high as this. Like I said, sound and feel, the ting to it, I don't necessarily love. I can get over it with how well I hit it. If I was continuing to hit it that well, I don't really care. But the sound is not absolutely amazing. I don't know if this is just not, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is a hollow body iron, so I don't think there's any foam or anything like that in it, but it definitely gets the ball up in the air much better than a traditional 4-iron. So I'm definitely going to take out the i230 4-iron and hit it against this, so I can kind of see what the differences are. And this is even stock. I mean, if I needed to add a little loft to it, I could definitely crank it up and go to 23 degrees or 23.5 or whatever. I mean, there's, I can go up by another degree or something like that to hit it even higher, which would be awesome. But at the stock 22.5, able to launch it up, fairly high and hit it in a pretty high window. And the same thing with this, it just went straight. Like, it was kind of crazy. Like, I mean, a lot of especially with 4-iron, I try to hit it hard, and that's where I get kind of over the top and I smother it and I hit it left. This, I was able to kind of swing it nice and easy, and I hit everything pretty much dead straight. I mean, I hit one or two that were, of course, poorly struck shots, hit one off to the right, one or two that went left. I mean, I did. But for the most part, it was just easy swing and just dead straight, gone. Really forgiving in terms of, where you're hitting on the face. It's a little longer heel to toe. But, I mean, you can see, well, I don't know if you can see it, but on YouTube, if you're watching it there, you can kind of see on the, maybe you can, on the face there, it definitely, struck a few in the center, And my tendency was kind of center out to toe. I mean, that was kind of my spot. And that was kind of my spot with a lot of the irons as well. But even stuff hit, all out on the toe there, still got up in the air, still carried really easily. This thing will definitely land softer into a green, especially off the turf on a long par 5 or something like that. Or not a long, but like a short par 5, I'm hitting, a 4-iron into the green. Definitely will land softer than either of my two, any of the two, or any of the 4-irons or 4 utilities that I've hit this year. So super easy to hit and very easy to get in the air, which I was kind of shocked. So I mean, if you're a player who's thinking I'm going to put something like this in the bag to hit low bullets off the tee and all that, you're either going to have to adjust the hosel or you're not going to get exactly what you're looking for. Maybe with the 2, maybe you'll get that 2-iron and that'll hit some low rockets, but it's definitely not something that definitely not something that you're going to be hitting low St. Andrews style shots out there. But like I said, easy to get up in the air. Really forgiving. The 2.0 shaft is really smooth. It's smooth. It's stable. It definitely has a stout feel for being an 85 stiff. I mean, you can feel it kick at impact. You can feel it kind of load. But for the most part, I mean, it definitely has a little stouter feel than I thought it would. And it always felt tight. Never felt like it was getting away from you. Even when you kind of swung hard or even put a poor swing on it, it still was pretty darn stable and really consistent. Overall, just a really solid club, and right now it's going in the bag. I mean, it really is. What I did do is out on the toe, it's got that little weight out on the toe for the build. I did already unscrew it to see what was in there, and it is wide open. So I'm going to see what the swing weight is on this, and if it is a little light, if it is like D1 or D0 compared to what the D2 standard is, I might pop a little hot melt there behind the face and see if that maybe just kind of gives it a little better sound and feel. Because that's the only thing that I could complain about is that it just like I said, that little ting. And again, that's my nail. But I mean, it still has that little ting with it, and that's a chrome soft. I mean, on there, which is probably a soft ball, but it's just got that little bit of ting, and you definitely hear it when you make impact. But like I said, if it's a little light, I'm popping that screw out. I'm gonna shoot some hot melt into it, and then that should probably take away a little bit of that noise and vibration and make this thing a real cannon. But I'm hugely impressed with it. I think it's been the again, and I know I haven't played with it out there like I have some of the others, but right now it's my favorite crossover or my favorite utility so far in terms of what I've hit, and the one that I've hit the best so far. So really impressed with this thing and the performance, and we'll see. Maybe I'll pop a little hot melt and stuff into it, and then it'll be interesting, to get on the course, see how it performs there, especially hitting off the tee, which is something I do a lot with my 4-iron, just to kind of keep things short on trouble, especially at St. Clair Shores, where there's just not a ton of, you don't need to hit driver on every par 4 or anything like that. You can hit some clubs like this off the tee, keep yourself in play, and avoid all the trouble while still giving yourself a mid to short iron into a lot of greens. So excited for this one. This one I hit really, really well, and this one's not being brought back to the office to offer to anyone. This one's going to kind of stay in the back here, and we're going to hit some more shots with it because so far I've been super impressed with what this thing is. So the iCrossover, the 4-iron version, is pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. It performs stupid good. It's just easy to hit. They say it's the low CG and all that for high launch. It worked for me. I'm like so far I'm definitely sold on it. But yeah, so that is the Ping stuff. If you want to check it out, go to ping.com. They got the new 230s on there, the crossovers. The crossover comes in a 2, 3, and a 4. Depending on, it only comes in the 3. So I think the 2 is like 18 degrees, and then 20, and then 22 and a half. So depending on what you're looking for, they make 3 different models. Like I said, I'm rocking that 4, and I'm kind of a big fan of the 4 so far. So I'm pretty happy they sent in a 4, not like a 3, because the 4 just fits my bag so much better. So yeah. So you know what? I'm gonna end there. I'm just gonna go with the Ping stuff. I've got I know somebody in my Q&A today Asked about the new Cleveland putters. I do have one here. I was putting with it like crazy last week out on the putting green and stuff. But I know I've gone a little long, or kind of gone along already, so maybe I'll save that for next week. It's a really good putter, just to kind of foreshadow it. But I did do my Q&A today. I want to thank everyone who followed along. If you follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod, that is I try to do it Wednesdays. I haven't been amazing. I'm trying to make sure I get into it, but I jump in there and answer any questions you might have. You have a lot of stuff people ask about different shafts. If you got questions on clubs that I've talked about, whatever. I try to answer everything I can. I know this week I did mine. I'm recording this on Wednesday, so I did it today. I wasn't able to answer every single question. I got as many as I could done, but I appreciate everybody following along, asking questions, and just being kind of part of this crazy Club Junkie type thing. I know you guys out there are just as nuts as I am in terms of getting your hands on equipment and trying stuff and wanting to hit just about everything. So I really appreciate it, and I thank you all for doing that. But yeah, I think that's going to be it. I'm going to end it here. I'm going to do the Cleveland Huntington Beach milled putters next week. And and then I've also got, so next week I think I'll do Huntington Beach putters, and I'll probably do the new Bettinardi wedges, because I had got those as well, and man, they look sweet. So perform pretty darn well too. But we'll hold all that off the next week. So again, if you want to have any questions, any concerns, comments, anything like that, hit me up on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod. And whatever you're listening to this, whatever podcast platform, if you're watching on YouTube, whatever, please subscribe, like, anything you can do is awesome. It just, the algorithm, it helps us grow more. It helps us get out there. And the more people that listen, the better chance I get for people sending me stuff. So I appreciate all that. But then I get to share it with you guys. So that's all I'm trying to do. But anyway, hopefully you guys have a great week. I know we're coming up on Thanksgiving pretty quick, so hopefully everybody's going to get their family plans, travel plans, all that set. But hopefully have a great rest of the week. Hopefully have a great weekend. Get out, play some golf. I don't know if I'm going to be able to this weekend because it's supposed to be like 35 or 40 degrees. So fingers crossed that, us Northerners get a little bit more of this, this Indian summer or whatever they call it that holds on, so we can get out and play a little bit more. But if not, I'm always going to be battling around the ranges and all that. So I'm not going to leave you guys hanging, and I got to scratch the itch whenever I can. So have a good week, everybody. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk next Thursday.